October 1985. The neighborhood known as Wando was bare land of weeds, bushes, and trees on the outskirts of Porto Novo, the capital of Benin. On a hectare of land granted by the government, then the People's Republic of Benin, Godfrey Nzamujo, a young man still in his 30s, arrived from the United States of America. For the cause of Africa, he had decided to forego his dream of becoming a university professor in electronics and computer science.
I realized that things were not going well in the early 1980s. The crisis in Africa was the result of a severe drought and massive hunger. There were images of the crisis in my laboratory in one of the largest universities in California. My goal at the time was to acquire skills to become an important and respected lecturer in electronics. But I became concerned by the reality of my continent on its knees, where things were not working. I was wondering what my values were. As a priest, as an African, as a scientist, what could I do to help? I went to South Africa, Nigeria, Liberia, and Kenya. I was upset because I found out that Africa was rich, with enormous possibilities everywhere. And I was asking myself, why is this continent with enormous human resources and vast natural resources like this? Why? It upset me, and it changed my life.
Catholic priest in the Order of Preachers, the Congregation of Dominican Priests. He had earned his doctorate degrees in electronics, microbiology, and development science. This brilliant young professor of computer science at the Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, California, had become convinced that he had to return to Africa, his home continent. For him, the image of Africa, portrayed over and over by the international media, of a continent plagued by poverty, ravaged by war, famine, and severe crises, communicated many inaccuracies about the real Africa. There was a pressing need to show the world a new image of Africa, where the people stand up for themselves. This was the starting point of a very bold and risky initiative called Songhai.
Songhai is a combination of our history, the call to dignity. Africa is made of great civilizations. The Songhai Empire was comparable to any civilization, showing that Africa was strong. The major universities were in Timbuktu, where there was advanced mathematics and wide-ranging economic trade. Africa's rich history stretched back thousands of years. It had always been there, we knew that, but it was not working to capacity. It was broken. But it could also still be fixed, so the name Songhai was adopted as a reference to history.
Father Nzamujo, supported by a group of Africans and friends who believed in their abilities to work at creating socio-economic wealth, started Songhai, an initiative based on training, production, and research in integrated and sustainable agriculture. With human beings at the heart of its mission, Songhai is a competitive agriculture system that focuses on the use of locally available resources while respecting the environment and treating it as a partner. The system can be described as biomimicry, which consists of observing the mechanisms of nature in order to find innovative techniques or technology solutions to protect and preserve the environment. In short, it means dancing with nature.
What brought me back to Africa was drought and hunger. But one might ask, why focus on agriculture? In the past, we have copied Western agriculture that relies on the use of chemicals. Today, more and more people believe agriculture should be organic and tuned with nature. A major obstacle is that through misuse, much damage has been done to the biological forces in the African soils with chemicals. It is necessary to restore the soil back to its original state. If we work together with nature and allow it to set the parameters and provide the tools, nature will respond. Agriculture is really an integration of powers. water, the sun, and the biological powers in the soil that work together to create prosperity.
The importance of the primary sector, agriculture, cannot be overemphasized. Agriculture contributes in a major way to the creation of wealth, improvement in standard of living, and of course acts as a driving force in socio-economic development. However, it is necessary and essential to associate the secondary and tertiary sectors and develop them jointly with agriculture. The development model advocated by the Songhai Initiative makes this association a rule. Thus, in the primary sector, economically viable initiatives are developed through the use of an integrated production model, a synergy between crop production, animal husbandry, and fish farming. In this way, byproducts from production waste are recycled and become raw materials for another sector, because at Songhai, nothing is lost, everything is transformed.
Principles of synergy, principles of recycling. These form the basis of Songhai activities today. Africans can stand up and be a proud agricultural producer in the modern world. Recycling can be accessible to everyone. Everything that people no longer need becomes the input in production. This is called low-input production. Today, this is a major strength of Songhai, and it can be replicated everywhere.
At Songhai, this concept is called ZERI, Zero Emission Research Initiative. This is to say total production, zero waste. This explains why the implementation of biogas production and the installation of a gasifier fit perfectly into the ZERI concept. The secondary sector at Songhai consists of agro-industry and machine fabrication. Songhai Manufacturing is able to produce many different machines to support the production of various products such as palm oil and palm kernel oil, rice, fruit juice, animal feed, and others. The machine fabrication unit makes affordable agriculture equipment adapted to local needs. This aids local farmers greatly in increasing productivity and increasing farmer income for their farm products, while at the same time reducing losses during the harvest and processing. Songhai's agro-industry is seen as part of the same sector. It works to develop processes to create healthy food products that can meet the return on investment needs of community farmers, making their products available to local and regional markets and assuring a reasonable profit. The result is that farmers enjoy increased income from their products, and agriculture entrepreneurs are encouraged to create and operate small and medium decentralized industries. The tertiary sector is responsible for supporting the primary and secondary sectors. It includes a number of services, such as marketing and sales services, as well as accommodation facilities such as hotel rooms, restaurants, and conference meeting rooms. Additionally, there are services such as transport, information and communication technologies, and above all, the training of human resources. As they say, there is no wealth more valuable than capable people.
Understand one essential factor. Songhai is not about money. Money is important, but it's not the most important resource. Songhai depends on 5 types of resources. The first Songhai resource is human beings, people who are capable and prepared. The second resource is environmental and appropriate technologies that support the environment. The third resource is social and behavioral. The fourth resource is technical. The fifth and last resource is financial resource. If you attempt to implement a project and the first 4 resources are not in place and you apply only money, the outcome will be a failure. It should be clearly understood. The most important resource is people who are motivated and capable. But a good question is, what kind of people?
No doubt it would be helpful to have socio-economic leaders, especially those who know how to use their head, heart, and hands. They are the activists and creators equipped with knowledge, skills, and attitudes that can successfully and effectively enhance the rich environmental resources of Africa. In applying appropriate resources to build and support the formerly mentioned sectors, Songhai has created a unique development model. It has evolved into 4 main components, namely a technology center, an industrial center, an incubation, training, and human resource development center, and a service center. In the 3 decades since its founding, the Songhai Initiative has implemented many activities that have attracted the interest and often the appreciation of governments, institutions, and partners, as well as daily visitors, clearly showing how essential this model is. Songhai earned an important honor when in 2008, the United Nations promoted Songhai to the status of Center of Excellence. Also in 2008, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, recognized Songhai as a Center of Excellence for Agriculture Entrepreneurship Projects in the ECOWAS region. The model will be implemented in other regions. In Benin, beyond the sites of Savalu, Periku, and Kinwinji. Songhai is also present in other communities through its own initiatives as well as the project for the promotion of agro-entrepreneurship in rural areas of Benin. Beyond the borders of Benin, the Songhai model serves in several states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. As part of the Songhai Regional Project, it is expected that the model will be replicated in other countries in Africa. Songhai's approach includes courses in entrepreneurship, with over 3,000 youth trained in an 18-month training, without accounting for the thousands of trainees in specialized training from countries around the world. The movement has led to over 2,000 socio-economic entrepreneurs who have their own farms and organize themselves into a network. Various centers operating in Benin and in Africa, as well as various partner organizations and institutions. Organic farming in harmony with nature. The Songhai development model, based on the concept of green rural cities and the regenerative economy, uses a simple range of technical solutions, which trains people to have appropriate knowledge, skills, and values. This approach is the answer to the 3 major challenges facing Africa's environment: food security, youth employment, for poverty reduction.
Poverty, what does that mean? Poverty is not a sickness like malaria, a sickness that can be cured with drugs. But it is first of all our inability to see our possibilities and develop the capacity to use them, to harness them in order to create wealth that corresponds to our needs and desires. For me, it is just that simple.
Poverty, therefore, is found in communities lacking inspiration. The inability of Africans to seize opportunities and take advantage of the potential offered by our rich environmental and human capital remains the main obstacle in our march towards development. With the Songhai Initiative, the fate of poverty in Africa is being redirected. Supporting this model and duplicating it everywhere is the best way to reduce poverty.